Welcome to Diamonds Network. Good evening. Elizabeth Diamond here with the Diamonds Network, and we are already in September 29th, 2015. So somebody's breathing into the phone. They have to star 6, and I got a horn out here. So this is our newest show here on Tuesday nights, 8:30 Eastern Time, Voices of the Alternative World. And I'm going to turn it over to Dale and Sunny, the hosts of this show, in a moment. I just want to read a little short, I'll call it a declaration, but you guys can all put it in your pipes and smoke it, as I say. Just hot off the press. I call it faxes from heaven. Here it goes. It's really short. I am the abundance. I am in service to others. I am the abundance for every encounter in my life. I am the abundance for the highest good of all that I encounter. I am the abundance. I am the law of one. I am in my divine right. I am the abundance for the highest good of all and for all. With that, Dale and Sunny, come on in. Welcome tonight. Thank you, Elizabeth. Dale?
Yeah, this is Dale Bowman. It's beginning of Tuesday, another hour program featuring voices from the alternative world, from people who have chosen to strike out on their own and develop new communities with new ideas and new behavior. And before I introduce Sunny and tonight's guest, there's a couple of news blurbs on the horizon, and particularly this last week has been really, really phenomenal because some major events have taken place. And the ones that are passed this week was the Global Citizens Festival in New York City, where the goal of all the participants was to contribute to the charities, basically to end poverty and disease. And there was 60,000 in the audience, and there was a number of participants, such as Sting and all these different groups, but the focus on it was finding solutions, and then these solutions, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was central to this effort. And what it was, it's a very simple thing. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was devoted to cutting in half the infant mortality rates by simple things, simple things like providing mosquito nets, providing malaria inoculations, and HIV injections, and also clean water. Yeah, they're big on getting these people clean water because most of these diseases that kill these kids are waterborne. So it's good to see that people are rallying around that cause. And then the really big festival was in Philadelphia, and that was the Festival of Families with the Pope. And there was over 1 million people there, and basically he's railing that we've gotten away from ourselves, and it was central to everything should be the love of the family unit, and that's extending that compassion and love to everyone, regardless of where they are. Forget about the borders and all the barriers, and just think of that familial association that we have, that unconditional love that we have for our families, and extending that love to our larger family in the world. And he was right on point from where we are now to where we have to go, where we have
One World Family.
Yeah, exactly. And now here is the next big thing coming up, and then I'll close this introduction. The 2015 Parliament of the World's Religions is taking place in Salt Lake City, Utah, October 15th through 19th, October 15th and 19th, through the 19th, reclaiming the heart of our humanity, working together for a world of compassion, peace, justice, and sustainability. And it's going to encompass 10,000 people, 80 nations, and 50 faiths or religions. And so this is a big step forward that these religions are coming together to really seek for practical solutions. And I just the thing that popped in my mind was Chris Jacobs had mentioned the founder of the Mormon Church coming into the ether, and it's just coincidental that this particular Parliament of the World's Religions is taking place in Salt Lake, Utah. So there's a lot of things happening. And so anyway, Sonny, I'm going to let you give an introduction to tonight's guest, and then we'll move forward. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dale. And it sure has been an extraordinary time. We've been moving through this weekend, the eclipse and the Pope's visit and all these things coinciding. The energy's been coming in very strongly, and so it seems very appropriate that I should introduce Joseph, who has been a part of the One World Family Commune for all these years and carrying the vision that we all held in the 70's. I was a part of this commune in the 70's, and we were in Berkeley and Stockton and Sacramento and quite a few different locations. And we had a demonstration that was living according to the ways of serving one another. And so with all that in mind and heart, come in, Joseph. I'm very happy to have you here joining us. Joseph Antaree.
Sonny, thanks for inviting me to be on the show today. And yes, that was truly a momentous, powerful, magical time in our lives back in the 60s and 70s, the early years of the One World Family Commune. But before we really get into that, I really want to back up a little bit further to the actual origin of the One World Family Commune, which began with our founder, Alan Michael. And Alan Michael is a being incarnate in a body from galactic worlds. And he came to this planet to serve as a channel for the prophesied everlasting gospel that's spoken of in Revelations 14:1-6. And what the channelings of the everlasting gospel led him to do was to create a communal demonstration that is one for all and all for one. So back in 1947, when he had this great cosmic initiation, and by the way, anyone that wants in-depth information on any of these things, please go to our website, which is galacticmessenger.com. Either via mobile or desktop, you can get there. And we have a Facebook page as well. So back in 1947, after Alan Michael's great cosmic initiation, when he was contacted by galactic beings and beamed up into a mothership where the voice of the universal mind, which we call God, spoke to him out of the light, and it commissioned him to be the channel of the everlasting gospel. And the first channeling that came through him happened shortly after this event in Banning Park in Southern California. And this channeling that came through is known as the New Covenant World Bill of Rights. And because this is the real foundation and pretty much explains the context of the One World Family Commune and our whole experience, I'm just going to read this. It's There are 7 precepts. So this is it, the New Covenant World Bill of Rights. Let each of us share all the world, the kingdom of God, and call one place of our choosing our own, and be free to come and go in the world and stay at any dwelling place accommodating travelers. Let each of us give to the extent of our ability to the One World Company, and in return all things shall be added unto us. Let each of us be judged only by our conscience in God, and let no people judge their fellow beings, but rather take judgment of their own thought and action. Let no person or group hold any authority over another, except that people be willingly led by wisdom and true personality. Let the government be of the people, where the people are self-governed, by the people, where the people enjoy perfect freedom, and for the people, where the people give themselves abundant living. Let the government seat be only the storehouse and inventory of the people's products. Let all things be done unto edification, for God is not the author of confusion. So this great channeling, this new covenant, was actually prophesied to come in the Bible in Jeremiah 31 to 34. 31 to 34. And what Alan Michael was led to do as he began to be a channel and to be guided by the God forces, back in the 60s, he was led to San Francisco and the Haight-Ashbury, and he began the One World Family Commune by starting a small vegetarian restaurant called The Here and Now on Scott and Haste Street. And the One World Family Commune began in a rather large house on Lyon. And the One World Family Commune was really based on serving people, serving one another, the members of the commune. But really, what we were doing was a demonstration of how people could live in a new world of total sharing, one based on holding all things common and making free distribution according to need, because that is the way that we lived, as Sonny can surely testify. We held all our material goods common. We put all our money through one bank account. None of us drew personal wages for any of the thousands of hours of service that we gave to the people in our 8 natural food restaurants. We operated over the years in San Francisco, Marin County, Berkeley, Sacramento, Maui, and briefly in Stockton. So what we were doing is we were demonstrating how people can live a true sharing lifestyle, one that everyone is equal. There is no hierarchy. Yes, admittedly, Alan Michael is a cosmic master, and he certainly was more tuned into cosmic consciousness than any of the rest of us. But he never put himself on a pedestal. He never asked for special privileges. And if anybody tried to relate to him as, like a follower or a disciple or a groupie or anything like that, it just didn't work because he wasn't there. He was creating a circle of power that radiated and was in touch with the energies of the Godhead, i.e. the universal mind of cosmic consciousness would flow through us as a communal body of one-minded spirit in service to humanity every day. And that, my friends, was remarkable and a true miracle. So Alan got started in Haight-Ashbury, and not long after, events unfolded to move to Marin County. We had the first vegetarian, natural food, macrobiotic restaurant in San Francisco, and again in Marin, and again in Berkeley, and again in Sacramento, and again in Maui, Hawaii. You see, we are pioneers. We are sowing seeds of how people can live a free giving and receiving economy. Because when you hold all things common, you don't need money. And that's where this planet is headed. Because this great ETI contact is not just a small thing. It's actually the Godhead coming to heal the world. And it does it in perfect ways that doesn't spill a single drop of blood, helps, loves, and lifts the entire body of humanity into a new world, which is literally the real kingdom of God, which is a space-age paradise of utopia. So this is what's coming to this planet. And it's not hearsay, because it already exists throughout the entire universe. The entire universe is alive. It's vividly alive. But what people here on this world don't realize is that it's in a higher dimension of consciousness. It's in Christ's spirit, which is universal through all of the beings, all the microcosms in creation. And it's what the ascension process here on this planet is about. Human beings collectively, as humanity, are awakening to universal Christ spirit. We are all the Christ for whom we seek. And it's no longer a hierarchy that's controlling or feeding information down to the people. No, it's all of the beings being fully enlightened, awake, together. And in this spirit, in this Christ spirit, it's just the simplest thing to share because it's perfect, superconscious common sense. Okay, let's just take a break here for a second. Anybody have any questions there? Or you're sitting there stunned.
Well, that was great, Joseph. I know we're going to continue.
That's just an opening statement.
Yeah, well, that was quite an opening. Yeah, as we can see that the energies have been building for all of this, and
this is what's happening. This is the very transformation that everyone has been seeing in their mind's eye and feeling in their soul for decades. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been at this since 1974 when I had my own cosmic initiation, where I was contacted by space beings and opened up as a telepathic channel. So what you're hearing right now is that ETI spirit is speaking through this body. It's not just my mortal personality making up these words.
Right. Well, you are connected with this universal mind and spirit, and the ETI consciousness is coming through these days, and it's coming
everybody.
It's coming through all of us in different ways now. And is Chris here, our psychic channel? I mean, I believe he was here at the beginning of the call. He might be muted, but he channels a great deal of beings from from all over.
Let's just shift gears here and ground the energy by talking about some of the nuts and bolts of the commune.
Okay, that's good.
What we were led to do was to create service industries in key areas like food, pioneering, natural food, organic, vegetarian. We published a cookbook called Cosmic Cookery. They had something like 190 recipes in it, which we developed in our restaurants. But we also had clothing stores, woodworking, transportation, taking care of our cars. We called it the University of the Universe, Schools of Experience in the University of the Universe, because, excuse me, it's a little weird today. I've been having like an allergy attack today. Anyway, these schools of experience in the University of the Universe were literally experiences where the God force was channeling through our very imagination. The intelligence was coming in through us, through our head radio TV sets. One of the great channelings in the Everlasting Gospel, of which there are many, is that the mind is in space and matter atoms, and your head is a radio TV transceiver. Thus, the Akashic Records, the mind bank of the planet, plays through us according to the words we speak and the deeds we do. And that's why it's so difficult to change the world from war, crime, disease, and poverty, because the words that people are speaking keep reinforcing this tape loop, and it keeps playing back exactly as the life is lived. So what ETI Contact is about is complete transformation into a whole new way of life that includes everyone on the planet as equals, where everyone has free use of the whole world and all of its facilities. Everyone has a place to live, decent clothing, righteous, healthy food, which we all produce together. You see, that's the idea. Once money is out of the picture, which it will be, because once contact with Galactica has taken place, money will be superfluous. We'll have the abundance of the universe at our fingertips. Sonny, you're going to have to add something here. I have to drink some water. My throat's starting to get a little raw. Got to take a drink.
Oh, that's good. That's fine. Well, what I find is impressive is that many people have been on these Diamond Network shows, have been speaking of along these same lines. So it's proof to me that what's happening is universal.
Yeah, it's God-inspired. This is the very thing.
Yeah, it's not just one group or one person's ideas, but it's universal. It's coming through here.
Yeah,
that inspired me to ask you to speak, because it just seemed quite in alignment with everything that's been going on these days.
Well, I'm very glad that you invited me on the program, and I'm humbly grateful that I'm able to offer something of value to the people that will listen to this and hear this show. So,
well, yeah. Well, even though never mind. Go ahead.
Down through the years, we moved our project from the Haight-Ashbury to Marin, and then to Berkeley, and from there to Stockton and Sacramento, kind of simultaneously, and also branched out to Hawaii. Started the Cafe Paradise, which Sonny was involved in, a clothing store, Universal Far Outfits, where we airbrushed and sold all kinds of creative clothing. And about 1982, we published the fourth book of the Everlasting Gospel series. Alan Michael is a prolific channel. He would sit down, and through automatic writing, the universal mind would channel through him these great ideas, which began with the World Bill of Rights. But much more than that, way more than that, it was leading him to open up the reality, the actual truth reality of what life in normal universe is, and how it's coming to this world and coming into being here. You see, we're just joining what already exists. It's all one vast cosmic conscious communal civilization, and it's from everlasting to everlasting. Earth science is in for a big, big surprise because they imagine that it's just a material universe that began with a big bang and someday it's going to come to an end. The creation is a living idea that exists in the mind of God, and it's all one idea, and it is manifest, in infinite variety. But it's all here and now. There is no time in eternity. The whole universe is taking place right now. Here and now, at this moment, you can feel, if you open your consciousness up, you can feel that the whole universe is alive. And it's alive in us. And this is what ascended consciousness is. It's becoming one with the Christ Spirit reality. And there's no loss of individuality. And in fact, every soul is unique, like snowflakes. And what this consciousness brings is our, true loving self to the fore. But yet together, we're the snowfield. And we're also what makes it snow in the first place, which is our oneness in spirit with God, the universe. So, take great, hope that not only is the world going to be redeemed, but we're coming into the greatest thing that people could possibly imagine. Galactic beings have a technology that they can deliver here that is in effect 1 million years in advance of Earth people. It actually is technology and a way of life that is operated directly by the universal mind itself, like a true quantum computer, which is all-knowing. The Dynadran power unit, which drives galactic spaceships, mind over matter, which is how you transcend the speed of light. You travel at speed of mind. The Dynadran power unit draws energy directly out of the electromagnetic field, and it's actually a physical unit with 2 counter-rotating disks and a PSI energy governor that controls the firing of magnets that are around the rim, and each of these disks spins in opposite directions, and they radiate a field, and this field itself can just zap through space, and it can transcend vertically into higher dimensions as well, where you're not even in physical reality, you're just alive in etheric spirit. So this technology brings Earth people, back to the Dynadran. So the Dynadran can bring unlimited free energy to the people of the world. One of these things can drive the entire Bay Area for nothing, because the universe doesn't charge us for the sunlight or the rain or the fresh air. So the new world is exactly that. It doesn't use money. There won't be nation states or military. There won't be judiciary penal systems. When people are alive in Christ's spirit, they don't need to be governed by mortal-minded thinking, guessing, and supposing that just controls them to enslave them to behave so that they can be a good cog in the wheel that provides for who? Those few elite at the top are sucking the life force out of the other 99%. But what beyond all of this, beyond all this stupidity, the God force redeems the whole world. Everyone's included. We're all forgiven. We've all fallen short of the glory of God's purpose. And as we transcend in ourselves, as our spirit comes alive with this contact with God's Spirit being poured out upon all flesh, the whole world is redeemed. And when you're in God consciousness, obviously you're not going to go to war with one another. You can't kill yourself, because that is who we are one another. It actually is spiritual oneness. So we begin to create a society that reflects this reality, or actually is this reality. So instead of controlling governments that are running money schemes that benefit the few at the expense of the many, we're going to just forgive the debt and go beyond money entirely. You see how simple that is? Just in that one master stroke, all the power of the powers that be is over forever. Now, if that doesn't make your heart feel good, I don't know what does.
Yes, the power of the cabal is falling. We're reclaiming our planet.
There's more energy and truth reality in one hair of a baby's head than in the entire system of ignorance that exists now. But yet there's still tremendous pain and suffering, and, you know, people need to take the steps in themselves, because that's really what it takes. Each one of us has to get up in the morning and get into service to the light. You know, let it lead us intuitively to what makes a difference. And that includes taking care of ourselves in every way that we need to. But when you collaborate together, it becomes a lot more efficient. And that was one of the things that definitely happened in the commune, is we made right useness of our material things, and it blessed everyone, and it really hummed. You know, we could get our basic needs done with a minimum of righteous service, and then we had time for music and art and celebration. We didn't just have our nose to the grindstone, you know, 24/7. Somebody is calling me, but I'm just going to send it to voicemail. Excuse me. There we go. Well, I hope it went to...
Yeah, I want to add that we had some wonderful, talented musicians and artists in the commune. And
oh, boy, did we.
Lots of music was produced, and I was listening today to some of the Quasar songs that are available on the website, by the way, if anybody wants to hear them or download them. So they held a vision and some wonderful songs about the spaceships and so on, all of that.
I believe something like 160 some original songs were created by our fantastic troupe of musicians, and the amount of artwork that was produced, Sonny being one of those artists, was remarkable. But, you know, we used our music and our art to reach out to people. We did concerts. We did free concerts. We, you know, sang in mental hospitals, prisons, campuses, many, many festivals like the Whole Earth Festival in Davis. And it just kept flowing. Every day was remarkable. And the fact that we could do it together was just incredible, high-energy fun. I mean, we really had a crew of remarkable people, every single one. And we raised quite a group of children, too. Everyone participated in the children's shift, by the way. And speaking from my experience, that was one of the most enlivening and educational schools of experience that we had, because you couldn't fake those kids at all. You had to really be real with them, and that was, you know, caring for them in real loving ways.
And they are now in their 40s, and several of them are my Facebook friends. So it's quite amazing to see these kids back in the 70s grow up. Yeah,
they're all adults now, very capable, talented characters. every single one. Having a drink of water here.
Joseph, this is Dale, and there's so many profound things that you said, and that my whole life has been involved in the OWASP, and my uncle is a spiritual economist. His goal, when he finally came to OWASP, was how to convert the money systems to non-money systems. And here's the irony in all of this. You see, what happens when men become more enlightened and more spiritual, and they seek justice. Okay, now there's an extreme where the free market economy runs like a juggernaut, and what happens? The gestalt is to make profit and to compete and to gain control. Well, what happens in that vortex is that all the money ends up, it's like monopoly. It's inevitable that
yep.
all the money ends up in the hands of a few. Now, here's the thing. When that happens, the discovery is made, well, how come there's no consumers? How come they're not buying goods? Well, because they don't have any. Because you've got it all in a small circle, and you put it on interest. All you do is buy tax-exempt bonds, and really don't produce anything. And so ironically, as this cycle right now, they just recently in the last 5 or 10 years, there's a 600 club where there's actually a group of billionaires, and their goal is to give all their money away, because they've come to the conclusion that if they don't put that money in circulation, if they put it on deposits and it just sits there, this system dies. So in the WASP, they say they'll try everything under the sun to make this thing work. And what happens
is it all fails.
Yeah, it all fails. The technology comes along, and the creator, he creates a robot, and all of a sudden you've got a robot that works for $2 an hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 365 days a year, and he doesn't need vacations or pensions or medical or pregnancy leave or what have you. And so now, as this technology comes in and displaces all these people, it's a matter of fact that they're going to have to learn how to live together without money, because there isn't any. And so it's necessity is the mother of invention, and my uncle's evolution in economics went from Charles Colgan back in the 30s, where he was trying to get rid of the Federal Reserve and eliminate the bond debt system, to German economist Silvio Gesell and his natural economic order. And then he came to the conclusion, he left that, and he said, well, after going through all the machinations and minutia, he says, well, if people are bright enough to have a inverse interest system, they're bright enough to have a system without money. And then shortly after that, he discovered OWASP when he came to that conclusion. So the close of my statement is all things, lead to Rome. And it doesn't matter which road you go on. If you get in a fist fight and try to make this system work, you're going to come to the conclusion, well, it can't work because it can't. We have to learn how to live together without money, And so
it's obvious.
Yeah,
it is. And
money
so that's what's
phony. It's a phony system, really.
Well, it's the Creator's played a trick on us. He's let us have freedom, but and we've come to the conclusion. Well, the best thing to do is just follow the natural order of things, and that's to love one another. So having a family at the center, it's the Creator and family and friends and unconditional love for everyone. And generosity. The Creator creates creation. There's enough trees, so there's plenty of oxygen for everybody. The only time
the new world is absolute freedom, security, and abundance for all people.
Yeah,
no one left out.
The only time there's a scarcity is when somebody comes up with an idea to put a post to the ground and declare that this is mine. And,
right.
That's my own.
So the power of, right, so, we've had this situation and this system up to this point for a purpose.
Yeah.
But now we're ready to go beyond it. And what we're going beyond it to is so profound and so completely transformative that it's hard for people to register with it. But now people are actually beginning to feel that spirit of the truth that lives in every one of us is enlivening us. And it's giving us the ideas, the inspiration, and showing us the ways and means to bring this into being. And everybody is feeling it and knows it's real.
And the Pope this last week, what he's calling for is that tender revolution within each one of us to take place so that we succumb to the will of the Creator and to love our brother as we love ourselves, and really practice the Christian faith. You do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Just be kind and loving. That's all you have to do, and things will work out for you.
I want to add something here about Pope Francis, and this is a difficult thing to understand. One of the things that he spoke about when he spoke at the UN was about Agenda 2030, which is these 17 points to bring about a sustainable world. But what you need to realize in that agenda is it's just more of the same old, same old. It's the same hierarchy, same beings in control. There's no real fundamental change. And so that idea, it's not going to fly. And even though, a lot of silky words are being, spread on the table, it's still, the same polluted way of living that doesn't take care of all people. However, what we are rapidly going to see.
Joseph, I just wanted to interject this thought that is part of the trying everything under the sun to make it work. That's going to fail.
Yeah.
And those people that are on the extremes, that's why the first people I feel that are going to get the message first are the ones who have all the money, because they're going to get to the end game first and say, hey, wait a minute, this isn't going to work. and there's still, this is this parliament of the world's religions. They're still trying to find justice in a system that is unjust. As long as you own land and use money, you've got a master and a slave relationship. But it's a big stretch. This growth for the spiritual growth process has to take place. The way my uncle described it is as these thousands of independent, self-sufficient communities grow, and there's a solid example of how to live with one another, then this system will just die a natural death, because the people are just they've walked away from it. There's 3,000 communities in the United States and thousands more all over the world, and that people that have already come to the conclusion that I'm going to gather my family and my friends, and with our Creator, we're just going to live in peace with one another. And as these communities establish, a beachhead and start becoming interconnected, and the people see that, geez, that it's like the iPhone. You can sit up there and talk about it all the time and say, gee, that's great, yeah. But until you get one in your hand and start using it, it's not comprehensible. So the nuts and bolts of these communities have to be built, and they have to function, and people have to see it, and they have to have the contract.
I'd like to hear more of your reflections on the Pope, Joseph, and his the Agenda 2030. I've read several articles about that, and people are really seeing this as a global enslavement agenda.
It's just the New World Order. They're using it as a smokescreen to install their New World Order, but the whole thing fails. You don't even have to oppose it. It's just coming to an end because the idea whose time has come and cannot be stopped is the universal Christ idea of a heaven on earth. And the whole point of ascension, of coming into Christ consciousness, is to ground it in the body through serving one another and living, a communal lifestyle, creating communities. But we do get to a point where the whole world flashes into this transformed state, and a connection with ETI beings that brings that into existence comes with a galactic mothership referred to in Revelation. At the very end of Revelation, it talks about the New Jerusalem coming down from heaven like a bride prepared for her wedding. And this is the point where full contact with creation universe takes place, and all of humanity wakes up to know not only are we not alone, but the living, loving God itself has come to live in us and with us, not just in spirit, but it brings its entire civilization to this world to heal all of the wars, all the crime, all the disease, all the poverty, bring the planet back into ecological balance.
Yeah, absolutely.
All these. Here's a small example, and you can know this absolutely real. Galactic beings control all nuclear weapons. Humanity will not be allowed to destroy the planet. And they do it psychically. And they do it with PSI energy so that they can dissolve. Have you noticed all of these crises where they've been trying to start World War III for the last 14 and a half years? And it keeps failing. Things keep balancing out, and it doesn't quite tip over. I mean, I saw what happened in 9/11, and within a week, I had the entire channeling come through about exactly what took place in that event. And sure enough, the whole scenario has unfolded. But it's all a karmic cleansing, because we can't carry all of this old garbage into the kingdom of God. It's just impossible. All we really bring into it is our souls. But a great deal of what is going on in the world now, it just ends. Commercial television, advertising, all of this trash that's, being fed to you day in, day out, shoveled in your head as fast as you can take it in and get rid of it.
Mind control.
Well, that's how they do it. They do it through the media, and they own the whole thing. But there's the higher mind, you see. The universal mind itself comes with the New Jerusalem, and we wake up to its cosmic intelligence. And the cosmic intelligence of the universal mind actually is the New World Government itself. You see, we're governed by our own conscience in God, and no one has any authority over another, nor any control. None of it.
Well, my particular perspective is that these communities that are getting started right now are much like the people who were inspired to build boats prior to the flood. There's the signs and the times. There's a direct inspiration on people to create another kind of world, that has nothing to do with this. And though it's as these communities develop, it's going to be abundantly clear that this is the way to go, And the more, my only thing is the more communities that are built and the more self-sufficient they are, and the more self-sufficient in agriculture and energy, the easier the transition is going to be.
Sure.
Yeah. So this is why I'm a big fan of permaculture and people like Jeffrey Lawton and these people that are looking. His goal is to turn the whole world into an edible forest.
I'm
so
quite familiar with permaculture, and it had my hands in the dirt quite a bit with some of the best permaculture gardeners on the planet. Let me just tell a little quick story here. Back in 1998, when the whole thing about Y2K was showing up, this idea showed up at a community meeting that we needed to start community gardens.
Yeah.
And because I had some free time at that point, I volunteered to help start something called the Sunflower Community Garden in Santa Rosa, California, with Santa Rosa Parks and Rec Department. And this garden was supplying food to Catholic charities, which in turn was feeding the homeless. So we got this garden going, and when my communal comrades and I built a greenhouse, geodesic greenhouse of an icosahedron, which we had made many of down through the years. And we began to produce food. And not too long after the garden was rolling, these young people, all in their 20s, came to visit me one day, and I found out there was this group called Planting Earth Activation, P. And what Planting Earth Activation was doing was they were creating gardens for people. And I began to collaborate with these young people. And we went out to Sebastopol, where most of them lived, and started a big community garden there. And then we began to have these garden parties where we would go to a neighborhood and with about 40 or 50 volunteers, all the tools, all kinds of donated plants, all kinds of yards and yards of compost and mulch, and we would just mass garden an entire street, like 6 to 9 gardens in a day. And we had food service going and a band playing. And these ideas began to take hold. In the course of about 5 years, I think we had our hands in about something like 150 gardens, one way or another. Either we planted them directly or we did starts and gave plants away or seeds. And that group, who I gardened with for about 17 years, have become leaders in the permaculture community, not just in Sonoma County, where it's really strong, but
Hello, are you there?
Yeah. Hello, Joseph.
I just suddenly stopped talking. I wondered if you'd gotten cut off.
Yeah, maybe the signal drops. But yeah, the permaculture movement in the world is just huge because of you're not using poison and pollutants and chemicals and pesticides, GMO engineering. It's just it's a sustainable, healthy way to grow things, a natural way, and it's just it's just that one little little thing is, self-sufficiency in food. If you're getting a healthy diet, everything else is you got to get out of the cold. You got to have some garments, but that's the first thing, is making sure that you got enough food to eat, so you can sustain yourself. And there's enough knowledge about.
Yeah.
And all over these communities, even in the cities, there's enough knowledge about that if there's any hiccup in the food distribution system, people know to get busy right away and start their, like they did during World War II. They started victory gardens, and so that's going to be really a big trend, is to get back to Mother Earth and start living intelligently, and that's getting.
Right.
We're here in California. We're eating oranges from New Zealand, and 70% of the energy is being consumed at just transporting goods. This is part of the design of the global free market economy, and it's just insanity run rampant.
Yeah, we don't need to have to spend all that money and gas and energy to transport our food all over the world.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know what happened to Joseph. I hope he can get back on here.
Yeah, maybe his phone ran out.
Yeah, he must have got dropped. You guys want to see if there's any comments or questions in the audience? That side's open. You can star 6 at any time, anybody.
Okay.
Your friend is deep. You guys all three brought out a lot tonight. That's great.
Yeah, he really knows his stuff. He's been.
Hi, Sonny. I'm back. Somehow
Good.
I disconnected.
Back.
And
we're opening up for questions now from comments.
Yeah, we left off. Joseph was saying that there's enough solid knowledge of permaculture technology in all of the big cities and in a greater portion of the world, that if there's a hiccup in the food distribution system, everybody can get to getting vegetables grown real quick. So there isn't, any more chaos than there has to be.
Self-sufficient, sustaining communities. There are several, there are people, lots of organic gardeners and farmers in my local area. And we really believe, a lot of people here really believe in eating locally as much as possible.
Well, it's gotten, actually, the industrial agriculture is actually toxic with all the chemicals.
Oh, it is definitely toxic. Yes, that's a big thing. We need to get away from the GMO, pesticide, herbicide.
People are figuring that up themselves and starting their own gardens. And I mean, it's a silent. It's soon becoming a silent majority. They just don't want to subject themselves to the Department of Agriculture, and what decisions they may make about what should go on our bodies.
Right.
It's all on the way out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
we're going through an incredible karmic cleansing and transformation right now, and really the challenge is to just ride the wave and come out the other side.
Right. We're on this big wave right now.
Yes. Joseph, years ago, I would be with my uncle, and he was always, trying to reasonably or rationally explain why things had to change, and there would always come, the conversation would always end with the extremist was saying, well, there's war and poverty, and there will always be war and poverty. And he said, well, we got rid of horse manure in the streets and outhouses, and we'll get rid of war and poverty too.
It's simple. Just begin to create an economy of free giving and receiving, and it all disappears automatically.
Yeah.
But the foundation has to be laid, and that's holding all things common and making distribution according to need. And that's where, the nut is at this point. But again, when that mothership, New Jerusalem, comes into the aura of this planet, and they come in on world television, which they can easily do, we're going to be getting messages and videos from eternity and from, the galactic universe. And when that ends, human ignorance is over.
Yeah, well, I think what's happening in embryo right now in these intentional alternative communities is there is a there's a bunch of them that are in the process. There's a lot of them that have been here for 10 to 15 years or more, and then there are a lot of them that have started in the last 10 years, and that momentum is growing because it's becoming, to be self-sufficient and self-governing and independent. It crosses all the religious beliefs and philosophical beliefs and ideologies that everybody wants.
It's all one truth.
Yeah.
Behind every religion, it's all the same universal
and what this
spirit.
happens when the big event happens, I think that whatever that tipping point is, is it 10,000 communities, is it 20,000 communities, is it 30,000 communities? But when the tipping point and the momentum and velocity goes in that direction, and so that it'll be that's the tender revolution that the Pope talks about. It's going to be in the WASPI. It says the Creator is sufficient to the time. What was good for the ancients was good for the ancients, and he's sufficient for this time too. It's not like he's an absentee landlord or she's an absentee landlord that is just letting ignorance have its way with the planet. This is all of these things have taken place so that man can develop spiritually.
Yeah, I want to interject here since Dale mentioned WASPI, and I spoke about my upbringing in the first show here, and that I was raised in a more or less a communal group close to Boston, Massachusetts, and their foundation was WASPI. So I was kind of prepared for all of this early in life. So my story about my communal lifestyle started with that, and then it moved on to the One World Family. I don't think I talked about that too much when I was in the family, but
and it's important now that we bring in the dialogue starts about the nuts and bolts. I want to eventually get a network of different communities and where we kind of get some feedback and say, hey, we've discovered something over here about energy, or we've got a new thing we came upon by accident in agriculture, or we've got this really crazy transportation system that we've developed and it works great, or we found a really neat way to make clothing out of some plant material, or
we both said it together.
Yeah.
Kind of like this is the international 60 minutes of the global community, where we can get all these ideas and everything getting exchanging and flowing, so everybody has access to them as soon as they. We're moving as fast as the speed of thought, which is about 100 times faster than the speed of light.
I just wanted to check because I just noticed the time. Does it matter that we've gone over an hour?
Well, I'd like to see if anybody else wants to come in and ask any questions or make any comments.
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth is always here.
It's opened up. The audience, you guys come in and tell your story, or as these three conjure up stories in you, or comments or questions. Come on in, or just say hi.
Anybody out there at *6 wanted to come in and make?
I can hear somebody trying to talk, but it's really weak.
Take it off speakerphone. If you have it on speakerphone.
Yeah, Joseph, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate you coming on and letting us hear a bit of your experiences and I just want to thank you, and I hope you stay tuned on the program and listen every Tuesday, because we, certainly when something pops up that is thought provoking to get you engaged in the conversation, or just would be fantastic.
That's a good idea, Dale. Yeah, that's a good idea, Dale. And we should ask all guests that are on this show to come and keep following, and we can all end up with 20, 30 people adding beautiful visions to this call. You know what I mean? It just really inspires me tonight and every night.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad.
I'm going to put in a little plug here. I've done quite a bit of media through the years. From 1984 through 2007, I think we did over 1,300 television shows that we produced. And I've done a radio show on our website called Contact with Galactica. And I would invite all of you to go to galacticmessenger.com, and if you want to hear more about this. Plus, our website is just a cornucopia of higher intelligence.
It's a beautiful website. Very well done.
And one last thing is I've been through quite a change in the last few months, and I'm now living in Sacramento. And the universe is leading me to start a new radio show here on Public Access Sacramento, which I'm going to title Share the World. And it's actually going to air on car radios, and it'll be on YouTube, or not YouTube, but iTunes and Facebook and our website. So look for it. Listen to it.
Well, that's
Share the world.
Great to hear, Joseph. We keep spreading the message.
The more voices that are joining in the chorus, the better. We got to drown out all the negativity and put the light in the driver's seat and get rid of the darkness.
Yep. Just keep channeling the truth, and the truth sets us free.
Yay.
And there are 4 Diamond Network shows right now, Monday through Thursday, and we're welcome to come in on any of these shows, because they're all
I'll certainly keep that in mind, although I'm about to be traveling for quite a bit of the month of October. I'm going up to Portland and Ashland and Monroe. Oh, I'm going to be seeing Chris, by the way.
Oh, wonderful. We have Chris, my old former partner.
You should call him up and get him on your show.
Yes, I do. It's time for me to make a contact with him. He's doing such a beautiful job up there with his wife now, Lynn.
Do you have anything to write with?
Yes, I do. I do have the. Yeah, give me the information now.
Here's his phone number. 541 847 8797.
8797. All right.
Chris Burns and Lynn Peabody, Sharon Gardens coordinators.
Right. Well, they've got a beautiful website too, and I've been.
Oh, they have an amazing project going, and it'd be really inspiring to have them on. I heartily endorse that idea.
Well, that would really be great. Full circle.
I'm going to say good night, because I've got to make dinner for my son.
Okay. Well,
thanks for joining
so much. Yes, for being a part of the Diamond Network, and welcome.
Thank you so much to all of you, Sonny, Dale, Elizabeth, anyone that's listening. It's been a pleasure, and blessings to you all.
Blessings to you. Thank you.
Okay.
Keep being the abundance.
We are all one.
We are one.
Amen.
Amen. Blessed be.
Okay, just give your intro, and I'll hit the button. Whatever you want to end with, guys.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I think we are one. It says it all. That's a nice close.
Yes. Consciousness is coming up through all of us.
Have a nice ride.
Yes.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Good
love
night.
you too.
Love
Bye-bye.
you too. Love you all. Bye-bye.